They cut holes in it. Starship 25 major last-minute changes, more signs of a Starship launch soon, SpaceX hits a massive milestone Dreamchaser update, and an emotional satellite rescue. My name is Felix, welcome to What About It, let's dive right in. Starship updates. Welcome back to Starbase. We've seen some interesting plot twists in the last week regarding the next orbital Starship. There's also been some intriguing mysteries solved, and we've been up with our helicopter again. So buckle up and follow me. Without starting our updates at the orbital launch site, it wouldn't be a proper Why episode. It's been over a week since the last static fire of Booster 9, and many signs suggest we could be days away from the next orbital launch attempt. As many of you are already aware, the super heavy stabilization pins have been removed, anchoring Booster 9 to the launch mount unless it uses its own engines to leave. Every day, more clues about the upcoming flight keep emerging. For instance, on August 31st, a truck carrying explosives made its way to Starbase, implying that the flight termination system is now on site. While workers have been seen in the FTS area, it's likely that the actual explosive charges will only be installed post-wet dress rehearsal. But rest assured, safety pins that prevent accidental detonation will remain in place until just hours before the flight. Unfortunately, the main component, Ship 25, has yet to make its appearance at the launch site, and we finally have some insight into why it takes SpaceX so long. While we initially thought the holdup was due to the final touches like adding heat tiles and cool decals around the nose cone, our new aerial photos have revealed something rather surprising. Ship 25 appears to have holes in its aft section. Before alarm bells start ringing, no, they are not scrapping it. Our best guess, likely confirmed by similar modifications made to Booster 9 while it was in the Mega Bay, is that these are venting holes. The purpose of these holes is to allow the purging of the space above the engine shielding with carbon dioxide. While the shielding does an excellent job of sealing off the area from fire, there's still a risk that some oxygen or methane vapors could accumulate there. If ignited, these vapors have the potential to seriously damage or destroy the engines themselves. This would of course produce a catastrophic anomaly, ending any Starship ascent to space. It appears that the additional piping and these newly added holes are designed to flood the area above the engines with CO2, allowing any hazardous gas mixtures to be vented safely away, while at the same time not being able to combust spontaneously. CO2 extinguishes fire immediately. Hopefully, with this system now in place, we can anticipate that the prototype will soon be moved to the launch site for its final test. At the time this episode was recorded, there had been no new road closure announcements, but that could change shortly. While the September 8th launch date appears hard to fulfill, there is a glimmer of hope. On August 30th, another weekly local notice to mariners was issued, and it's still mentioning this day as a potential tentative launch date. As mentioned in our previous episode, the bureaucracy related to the second flight could possibly introduce delays. On the other hand, it is also possible that the FAA and SpaceX are working together to release details as late as possible to mitigate the risk of any legal complications. I would not be surprised if the launch license would just appear out of nowhere. It's also a game of tactics. It is so strange when games have to be played to be able to advance humanity. Meanwhile, the crews are applying finishing touches to the orbital site of the launch complex. The newest pictures from our new YCAM operator John show that the orbital launch mount has received another layer of paint, even extending to the launch deck doors. Oh yeah, did I mention we have a new addition to our team? Please welcome John Cargile, our new Starbase photographer. He is responsible for most of this episode's fabulous ground and aerial shots. Some of you might even recognize him by his name on X, Ground Truth. His photography is absolutely outstanding. Feel free to welcome him warmly in the comments section. He certainly deserves it. He basically raced down the starbase to be able to start for us so quickly. Thank you, John. Many here appreciate it so much. Now let's shift our focus to the build side, where it seems a lingering question has finally been answered. But before diving into that, yay, cliffhanger, let's quickly check in on what's happening inside the high bay. SpaceX's need to pump out prototypes appears unstoppable. One might even call it a healthy addiction. On August 30th, Ship 31's nose cone was relocated into the high bay, followed shortly by its payload bay section. Hours later, the two segments had already been assembled, and now they are waiting for the next section to arrive. To put this into perspective, Ship 30 was fully assembled in just a month, so we could see Ship 31 reach completion even quicker. Shift your attention to the adjacent Mega Bay, and you'll see that not long ago Booster 12 was finally assembled after spending several weeks in two pieces. Meanwhile, crews were already preparing sections for Booster 13 outside, and before they even had a chance to enter the building, another intriguing component was brought into the bay. Remember when I posed a question about the purpose of those two white rings visible at the Sanchez site? Many of you suggested they are a part of a booster engine installation stand, and if you are among those who made that educated guess, hats off to you, it looks like you were spot on. One such ring, along with a peculiar metal floor and other weird pieces, was transported to the Mega Bay on August 31st. Thanks to Chrome Kiwis and Ovis Insight, we have a clear picture of how these components come together. The prevailing theory is that this stand features motorized clamps capable of securely holding an empty booster and centering it at the same time. And that curious black structure? It turns out it might be an elevator platform. Engines are placed onto this platform, which then rises, allowing for easy Raptor installation. If this theory is true, this could drastically accelerate the pace of engine installation while also freeing up the transport stand for use with another booster. At the same time, things get more standardized. Always the same location, always the same task, mass production. It's likely that this new engine installation stand will become a permanent fixture in the Mega Bay. Similarly, the second ring is most likely also an engine installation stand, but this time it is destined for the second Mega Bay. On that note, John's aerial images reveal that all four beams needed for the dual gantry cranes in this second Mega Bay are already on site awaiting installation. Nearby, prefabricated sections of roofing are also visible, and its first pieces were installed recently. With any luck, this facility will be operational by year's end. Looking in front of the bays, you'll notice that what was formerly the ring yard has now moved closer to the last remaining production tent. Located there are components destined for Ship 31, Ship 32 and future boosters. It is just crazy. In addition, two test tanks are visible, S-24.2, a payload bay test tank, and another that features an E-dome at its top. Adjacent to the new ring yard is the growing Star Factory, the future of Starship mass production. This facility's first and second phases are now virtually a single entity, with the roofing and wall tiles nearing completion. Another sign of imminent mass production efforts. Gwyn Shotwell, the current project manager at Starbase and the COO of SpaceX, once said that she expects the facility to produce 3 Starships per week once fully operational. Construction efforts are also underway to extend the building towards Highway 4, as indicated by the first roofing tiles already being in place. Also worth noting is the excavation work happening in the area where production tents once stood. This suggests that foundation laying is imminent, which also indicates that it won't be long before the third and final tent is also taken down. The era of the iconic onion tents is coming to an end. Flying over to the Sanchez side, we can see the rings mentioned before. As I mentioned earlier, it wouldn't surprise me if the second white ring would be used as the installation stand for the second Mega Bay. However, the second pair of rings is still shrouded in mystery. These seem considerably more complex, getting way more attention from the engineers at Starbase. What's even more confusing is that it appears the first of these new rings is set to be fully painted white. The theories about their purpose range from inspection platforms for the Star Factory to fully fledged booster and ship test stands. Given the timing of their assembly, my best guess is that they are likely additional stands for the Megabay. However, I wouldn't mind if they indeed would turn out to be some kind of test stands. Turning to the end of the Sanz site, the ground fabrication building comes into view. This building was originally situated at the build site, but as the Star Factory continued to expand, it was disassembled and is now being reconstructed here. Although the framework appears complete, progress seems to have slowed, with no roof or wall tiles installed yet. It's possible that this building just isn't needed right away, but SpaceX wanted to get it out of the way as soon as possible for the Star Factory expansion. Next, let's drop by Massie's test site. Thanks to our newest aerial shots, we can see how quickly things are developing here. Currently, this facility is hosting 3 prototypes. The first is stationed at the so-called Can Crusher and was utilized as a hot staging test article. It aimed to verify the ring's structural integrity under flight-induced forces, and since it remains in one piece, it likely passed the test. Its top ring, mimicking the aft section of a ship, was recently removed. Interestingly, it was previously a part of the S-26.1 prototype that's located at the back of the facility. The whole tank was primarily used for cryo-testing. Lastly, to the right, we see the B-7.1 test article, which hasn't seen much action lately. Massie's is also home to multiple test stands. One is designed to simulate Max-Q flight conditions, known as the nose cone cage. Essentially, it is a torture chamber for test articles. Yep, they have that down there. Currently, it doesn't have a test article assigned to it. Nearby are 2 additional test stations, one used for ship pressure testing and another for booster cryo testing. Recently, changes here include the relocation of a tent from the back of the site to the front and ongoing excavation work near the blast pad used for FTS system testing. This hints at the potential construction of a new test stand in the near future. New foundation work is also evident near the front of the test site. While its ultimate purpose remains unclear, it could be anything from a simple administrative building to something as intriguing as a mission control room. So stay tuned as we keep an eye on this developing story. What do you think? Why would they need a building at Massie's? Please leave your ideas in the comments. Input is needed. Here's something to think about. Our little experiment from the last few videos shows that many of you were, in fact, unsubscribed by YouTube from Y without knowing about it. Thousands already found out through our mention. YouTube can sometimes unsubscribe you from our channel. Don't ask why, we have no clue. What matters is that you check if you are still subscribed, even if you were already, so you don't miss our uploads. And we're just 2K away from hitting the insane milestone of 300,000 subscribers. Can we hit that before the next episode? While at it, hit that like button, share this video with your family and friends, and consider becoming a Y supporter. You get access to daily Starbase photo galleries for as low as $1 per month. Now it includes aerial and ground photos of SpaceX's progress and countless other extras on top. No matter how much you decide to give, everyone gets the same supporter content and access. You decide what you want to give. The link to our Patreon page is in the description. Thanks to all the supporters who help fulfill dreams on our team. We can't thank you enough. You rock. On we go. Shifting gears from Starship, let's dive into another remarkable achievement by SpaceX. Make Surfshark VPN your one-step solution for a better internet experience. Most of all because it's available in over 100 countries. In fact, Surfshark VPN is the first commercially available VPN to achieve this. Among other things, it helps you stay within your next travel budget by circumventing price discrimination. By implementing tracking cookies and IP tracking, booking services try to predict your habits. They want to find your pattern and ramp up prices on exactly the flights and hotels you're likely to book. Be smarter. Activate Surfshark and change your virtual location to wherever you want to travel and unblock cheaper flights and hotel prices. Problem solved. You want to watch a movie and find out it's not available in your country? Simply change your virtual location and get access to different content on streaming services. With its privacy and no logs policies, Surfshark VPN is not collecting any data about your activity either. What you do online is your business. I use Surfshark every day on my PC and my smartphone. In fact, it automatically starts up whenever I turn my PC on. Head over to surfshark.deal/Felix, grab this amazing deal and enter my promo code Felix for 3 months for free. Surfshark, surf with your own set of rules. I'm talking about the second launch of the Tranche 0 mission, which had a bumpy start with 2 scrubs, one due to an engine issue and the other due to a ground valve problem. It is better to be safe than sorry. After all, that is precisely why countdowns exist, to catch issues before liftoff. Finally, on September 2nd, booster B1063 illuminated the overcast sky over Vandenberg, taking off from Space Launch Complex 4E, or short, Slick 4E. Shortly after ascending, it separated from the second stage and made its way back to Earth, landing at Landing Zone 4. Did you know this landing site is a mere 400 meters or 1,300 feet from the launch pad? Well, now you do. Wondering what the second stage was carrying? It had a payload of 13 satellites designed for the Tranche 0 constellation. This constellation is a project by the Space Development Agency and it is split into 2 layers. The first layer, known as the transport layer, is made up of interconnected satellites that allow for secure data transmission for the Department of Defense. The second layer, called the tracking layer, consists of satellites designed to have a wide field of view. With a sufficient number of these, the Department of Defense could gain the capability to monitor the entire planet, enabling quick detection of enemy missile launches. This second Tranche 0 mission deployed 10 transport layer satellites manufactured by Lockheed Martin, 1 from York Space and 2 tracking layer satellites built by SpaceX. Just 1 more launch is needed to complete the entire constellation, but the SDA is already working on the next one, Tranche 1, slated to include 150 satellites. Now, this launch wasn't just notable for its intriguing payload, it also marked a significant milestone in SpaceX's Falcon program. This mission was the 61st Falcon flight for 2023, a number that should ring a bell. Why? Because SpaceX conducted exactly 61 Falcon launches in 2022. It means that they've already matched that, yet we have almost 4 months to go. If they maintain their current pace, they will hit as many as 91 launches this year, which inches them closer to their ambitious goal of 100 launches in 2023. But Elon Musk, of course, has even bigger plans. According to his post on X, SpaceX plans to ramp up the launch rate to 10 Falcon 9s per month by the end of this year, potentially pushing them even closer to the 100 launch mark. Moreover, he set the bar even higher for 2024 with a target of 12 monthly launches, culminating in over 140 launches that year. Besides being extremely excited for even more launches, this number may sound ridiculous, but I'd say it is achievable. Take a look at their launch history with me. In 2020, SpaceX conducted 26 launches, followed by 31 in 2021 and 61 in 2022. If they reach 100 this year, what's stopping them from adding 40 more? Naturally, there's likely to be some practical limit to the number of launches that can be conducted. Yet given the current pace, we're still far from hitting a permanent bottleneck. Of course, SpaceX isn't the only aerospace player with ambitions to ramp up its launch cadence. Another such company is Sierra Space, and they have an eye-catching spaceplane, Dreamchaser. This spacecraft has been in development for nearly 2 decades, originally envisioned as a more compact, cost-effective successor to the Space Shuttle for crewed missions. Sierra Space had aimed for Dreamchaser to serve as a transport vehicle for astronauts to the International Space Station under NASA's Commercial Crew Program. That contract ultimately went to SpaceX and Boeing. This led Sierra to pivot and focus on a cargo variant of Dreamchaser, which subsequently secured 7 ISS supply missions under NASA's second round of the Commercial Resupply Service program. To make this possible, Sierra Space developed an expendable cargo module known as the Shooting Star. This allows the spaceplane to carry up to 5,000 kilograms or 11,000 pounds of pressurized cargo and an additional 500 kilograms or 1,100 pounds of unpressurized cargo. That is over 2,000 kilograms or 4,400 pounds more than SpaceX's Cargo Dragon. In contrast to the Space Shuttle, Dreamchaser will launch inside a fairing on top of the Vulcan Centaur rocket. Its wings will be folded during launch and deployed once in space to accommodate this. Kind of like a jet designed for use on an aircraft carrier. Recent updates from Sierra Space have been promising, revealing considerable progress in the vehicle's development. Photos indicate that the cargo module's solar array is now installed, and the altitude control system appears to be either fully operational or close to it. The major component missing are the heat shield tiles on the bottom of the craft. They are required for safe re-entry. The inaugural launch of Dreamchaser is slated for early 2024. However, since it is planned to be the second mission for the Vulcan Centaur rocket, whose first flight isn't expected until later this year, there is some potential for delays. It will be truly exciting to witness Dreamchaser's shuttle-like landing, especially on the Kennedy Space Center runway that hosted so many space shuttle returns. I'll be there waiting for it. Lastly, a company named Starfish Space recently released a breathtaking story of how they were able to recover their technology demonstrator. Otter Pup, a microwave-sized satellite, was part of the Transporter 8 mission. It was secured to orbiter SN3, a space tug developed by Launcher, now part of VAST. Everything was going according to plan until a software glitch made the orbiter tumble just after separating from the rocket's second stage. Faced with an emergency, the space tug detached all onboard satellites to improve their survival odds. Otter Pup was among them, spinning uncontrollably at a rate of nearly 330 degrees per second. So almost 1 revolution per second. That is fast. However, Starfish engineers had a clever idea. Exploit the satellite's onboard torque rod, which uses Earth's magnetic field to generate torque to slow down the spin. An algorithm was deployed to save the mission, but then the unthinkable happened. Due to low solar exposure, the onboard computer temporarily shut down. Fortunately, after sending an emergency maneuver command, the spacecraft changed its position and power was restored. The algorithm was finally deployed on July 31st, reducing the spin rate from 140 to 50 degrees per second within 10 hours. After a 2-day pause for recharging, another activation brought it down to the desired 1 degree per second. Remarkably, Otter Pup now serves as a prototype for a satellite rescue and life extension project. Sometimes engineering ingenuity can turn little to no resources into miraculous outcomes. Lastly, did you like our view of Starbase in the aerial images? Here's a massive shout out to Redline helicopters on South Padre Island. If you want to get the same view and experience your own Starbase flyover, go to redlineheli.com. They'll take you up for an absolutely unforgettable experience. That's redlineheli.com. Book your own flight now. Alright, that's it for today. Remember to smash that like button, subscribe for more awesome content. This is what fuels the algorithm and helps us immensely. Check out our epic shirts in your favorite Space Nerd store. Link is in the description. And if you want to get even smarter about space and rockets, watch this video next to continue your journey. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you again in the next episode. Construction efforts. Yay! Oh yeah. Inspection platform. Fantastic stuff.